right, guys, welcome to Moralis Podcast. It's a new podcast that we here at Moralis have started. I will be doing it together with Reuben. And as you know, my name is Ivan. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Moralis. And here we have Reuben, who is heading the product of our dev tools and heading the product team. Reuben, how are you doing? And what do you feel about this podcast series that we're starting?
Yeah, very excited. Excited for Christmas, excited for the podcast. Feels like Santa has come early. You're being too kind to us.
Absolutely. The bull market is here. And also we're seeing a lot of development within the Web3 space. And by doing this podcast, which we will do monthly, maybe even more often as the bull market comes back and as the rate of development in crypto increases even more, we thought we would start with this podcast where with this episode we will be speaking about what has happened this year at Moralis, what has happened this year in crypto overall, because we've seen a lot of changes. The whole L2 landscape has been extremely vibrant, and we added all kinds of chains to Moralis, including Base and Optimism. And next year is going to get even more intense, and Moralis is going to add all kinds of chains next year as well. Our big vision is that very soon we have hundreds of chains, and where developers can just call one API and have all data with the highest quality, highest availability, and highest accuracy. And that's something we're working together on, and that you're going to see a lot of updates on in the coming year. And also looking back at this year, Reuben, what have been some of the highlights that we've done here at Moralis and that we've shipped at Moralis?
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at the last year, it's actually crazy when you have a quick scroll through of the changelog here. Like back in January, we added a couple of new chains with Palm and Aptos. Throughout the year, we've added our first spam detection system, which we're currently in the process of revamping entirely. But yeah, the first version of that went out. We had tons new cross-chain APIs launching that gives you wallet activity across different chains, dipping our toe in some really nice new features around ERC20 prices and address labels. This was a really popular one. So pulling in publicly known addresses like Coinbase or Binance or these big dexes and exchanges, and labeling our entire API with these labels. And then more recently, like you say, yeah, we're just starting to emerge from this big re-architecture project we have been working on, which effectively transforms our old legacy tech into this shiny new rocket. And as a result, we are now starting to switch on this rocket, and we're seeing new chains launching: Gnosis, Base, Chili's, and yeah, next year is going to be very, very exciting. But yeah, just having a quick scan, there's been so much we've shipped, whilst I'd say the main focus hasn't been so much feature work. It's been more kind of rebuilding our stack, making sure we're ready for this new bull market that is coming, or maybe is even started. Who knows?
Exactly. And as Reuben said, we will have all kinds of new features we have now unlocked due to the fact that we've been focusing during the bear market on re-architecture. And one example is just the speed of delivery. During the bear market, we've been focusing on ensuring that we have the foundation to bring out features, new endpoints, enhancing the existing endpoints, and also allowing you guys, the developers who use Moralis, to create your own endpoints based on our data engine. So that's going to come next year. Also, we're focusing a lot on accuracy of the data and the fact that you can always be sure that the data is fully correct, fully indexed, and fully up to date. Because when we're looking at the space of Web3 development, we do see still very big problems. And the big problem that many projects face is that they can't trust the data fully. When you use different Web3 APIs, sometimes you get different answers for the same questions. And that's not how it should be. So this space overall needs to improve the trust when it comes to developers trusting the data. And that's what we're focusing on next year. So currently, we're seeing that developers don't fully trust Web3 APIs and instead create their own indexers due to concerns that the data is bad, outdated, or missing. And we know that it's not going to be like this forever. And here is where we think we can play a massive role, because it's clear that if all developers recreate the same indexing pipeline, the same data pipeline, they have the same data teams, we as an industry is very inefficient, and we cannot go to mass adoption if everyone is recreating the wheel every time. So as an industry, we have to fix the trust problem, and here is where you will see a lot of news coming from Moralis that you can trust the data. We will ensure that our data is verifiably correct, that all the APIs you use, all of the endpoints you use, we will have proofs that they're all fully correct and they're verifiably correct. Also, like I mentioned, a big part of why some developers don't use Web3 APIs and instead waste money and time building their own indexing solution is due to flexibility. If you use a Web3 API today, you're not sure that the API provider will support the endpoint or the feature or the use case that you want to support. So here is where, in the coming year, Moralis will be allowing you to extend our API, built upon our data, and to create your own endpoints so you feel fully flexible. So if you think about the future of Moralis, if we sit here next year in approximately 12 months, you will have a lot of trust, full trust in the data due to the proofs, and you can extend our API due to the fact that we'll add this flexibility to our solution. And number three, the problem that many devs are facing is that although there are many different APIs, Moralis API, other APIs, it's still difficult to use them in order to build use cases. So just looking at the different wallets that use us, to display all of the information about the user, for example, get all the NFTs, get all the transactions, get all the history, get all the metadata, get all the labels from all chains, and to also have a history. We're speaking about hundreds of calls, because there are 10 plus chains that you absolutely want to support in your portfolio or your wallet. And for each chain, you have to call separate endpoints in many cases for NFTs, for tokens, for native balance, and then also you want history. So very quickly, it becomes hundreds of endpoints that you have to call in order to fetch all of it for different chains. So we need to focus a lot on this turnkey solution where all of different use cases basically just require one API call to pull all the data. And here is where we have a lot in our roadmap when it comes to improving the existing endpoints to be more data complete, so you don't have to stitch together a bunch of them. And Reuben, how are you thinking about this? And what kind of thoughts come into your mind when we are discussing these developer problems? And what's in store for Moralis in the coming year to address some of this?
Yeah, I think the roadmap obviously revolves quite heavily around these three key areas. So, like you say, one is the lack of trust. That ultimately stems from data integrity issues and quality issues. Customers don't always trust the data they're being provided. It might be inaccurate, parts might be missing, it's inconsistent across different chains, and they're kind of forced to have many data vendors. Like, it's not uncommon for even some of our customers to use nodes directly to verify the data we're giving them matches the node, or even comparing it across vendors. So customers are in this kind of weird limbo where they're having to use multiple vendors just to verify the data they need is actually accurate, which quite frankly sucks as a customer. So yeah, we have some really nice ideas around how we can fix this. Not only have more of that data that they need, like cross-chain, many more chains, but also, more importantly, being able to verifiably prove that the data we're giving them is actually exactly as per the blockchain. I think a second part, which I think everyone is familiar with and is somewhat related to the data, is kind of the spam and security concerns as well. So how many spam NFTs do you probably hold in your NFT wallet right now, or scammy tokens?
Yeah,
hundreds. Like, this is a really, really big issue that plagues most of our customers, I would say. Certainly wallets, and also crypto tax, trying to figure out how do you account for this sort of stuff. When we think about this, we kind of split it into two components, I would say. One is spam, which is akin to like email spam, unsolicited emails and junk emails you might get in your email inbox. And this is typically manifesting itself as NFT airdrops and NFT spam. So we're looking at ways around how to really completely stamp this out. And with this re-architecture that we were mentioning earlier, we have a really nice automated system that is rolling out as we speak, that is expected to hit like 99.9% of these spammy projects. So yeah, this is a big problem. And to be honest, they're getting kind of sophisticated in the sense that although it's often found on chains with low fees, say like Polygon or Gnosis, like these are the chains we as indexers have a hard time indexing because there's so much spam. It's an interesting problem from that perspective, but yeah, they're interconnected cross-chain as well. So like as an example, you can make a trade on Optimism, and within a few seconds, you're getting a related spammy NFT on Polygon related to that trade you've just made on Optimism. So they're getting pretty sophisticated, and
that's interesting. So they often try to get the user to go to some website, right?
Yeah.
And to connect wallet and to drain the funds.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, you'll make a swap on Optimism for Pepe, and then a few seconds later, you'll get an NFT on Polygon saying, "Click here to claim your Pepe at some scammy website." So yeah, we've got some really nice tools in place now to protect ourselves as indexers, but more importantly, protect our wallet builders, customers, so they know that, okay, this is a spam, or have the option to completely remove it in the first instance. And then the second side, which is very much related, is more on the security side. I'd say this is more prevalent in ERC20 tokens. This is less to do with spam and like junk email NFTs you might be getting, and more about how do you actually identify malicious projects and scammy tokens that are genuinely trying to take money from you, rug pull you, whatever. It typically is more common in ERC20 tokens. And this is where I think you guys on Moralis money side as well, this is where the Moralis security score came from, right?
Yeah, and like you mentioned, this year we've also built Moralis Money, which is the B2C product. So Moralis is at its root a B2B product, but during the bear market, using our own tools, we have built a B2C product, which is Moralis Money, and that in itself it could be its own startup. Because the revenues have exploded, everything is growing very quickly, and it's a product where you can look for altcoins. So you can use different filters. Let me share this screen. So we built this app where users from the crypto space can come in, and then they can add different filters. For example, give me all coins that were minted in the last, let's say, 5 days. And then you can add more filters. Let's say that the total volume is bigger than X millions of dollars. And then you can see all of the coins in a list. As you can see, each coin has a security score, because this tool is used by people who are exploring altcoins. And we built it using Moralis Tech. And what we quickly discovered is that the amount of spam and scams are so big, especially when it comes to newly minted coins, that we need a way to filter them out. So this is a big part of what we've been doing last year when it comes to using our tools, demonstrating the power of Moralis, because this is also becoming a big part of our business. It started as an experiment, started as a demo, but in terms of revenues, in terms of serving a real use case in crypto, this is massive. Moralis Money is really massive. And it shows you the power of our APIs. I mean, if you have any kind of idea where you want to use blockchain data, here is one inspiration that can help you to refine your idea, because showing on-chain data and showing relevant on-chain data to investors, to people who buy crypto, is a lot of value. So we hope to inspire you guys who are watching this and who are builders in this space by also using our own tools to build our own solutions. And so here is where we got this idea to build the security score, to analyze the smart contracts, to look into whether a coin is a rug pull, a honeypot, what is the risk of that, and then we score it from 0 to 100. Where if it's close to 100, it is likely not a scam. For example, wrapped ETH has 97. Likely, it's not a scam. But some coins have lower score. You look at Grok, for example, it has 75 due to different factors. It can be that the ownership is not renounced. It can be for all kinds of things. It can be that the liquidity is low, but we have different factors that we'll look at here on the token page. And so all of this is now also coming to the Moralis SaaS APIs, because we use our APIs ourselves to build this B2C product, Moralis Money, but then we also discover all the things we could add to our tech. And then we build it first for our retail users, and then we expose it as APIs in the Moralis API stack. So all of the security features, spam features are gonna be very much improved due to our own experience building for the end user. So that's dropping soon. And yeah, in terms of what we're looking forward next year, many new chains is going to be a big part of that, because currently, if you are a developer and you are working on a project, you normally have to stitch together different providers for different chains, which is a massive problem. Let's say you build some kind of accounting software or wallet or somewhere else where you want to show the user their entire portfolio. You need to support as many chains as possible. And currently, what many dapps do is that they sadly have to stitch together different providers, because different API providers have different support for different chains. So they may have some endpoints on this chain, other endpoints on that. And we plan next year to bring out hundreds of chains. And Reuben, what kind of chains do we have in the near term that your team is looking at?
Yeah, so in the near term, we've obviously just launched Base, Notice, Chili's. Very near term, we have ZK Sync, Polygon, ZK EVM, Linear, Mantle, Starknet is a huge one right now with, I think, everyone on Twitter or X airdrop farming. So that's getting tons of requests and is coming very soon. And like you say, yeah, the goal is to become that go-to EVM provider. So as more L2s pop up, we will continue to index them. I think one of the third aspect of the roadmap is that overall trying to fix the overall UX and data fragmentation of the space, both in terms of adding in as many chains so customers don't have to be forced into multiple vendors for the different chains, but also once you have that chain and that data, actually working with the data is easy. So regardless of the chain, all of the APIs work in the same way. They're all consistent, they're standardized, unified. They all have the same response structures. And I think if I was a developer right now building different wallets or even crypto tax, let's say, every time I see a new L2, part of me is like, cool. Yeah, this is a nice, exciting chain. But the majority of my feeling would be, God damn it, this is something else I have to now build for an index or integrate. So we kind of want to take that pain away. With Moralis, it's going to be as simple as adding in another query parameter for that new chain. And longer term, we're building this truly natively cross-chain API. So you don't even have to specify which chains you're interested in. Just give us a wallet address. We'll tell you which chains that wallet is active on, and we'll get whatever you're asking for across every single chain, whether it's assets, NFTs, history, whatever. So yeah, that's a really big UX issue we're fixing. And I'd say that the second part to UX in general is just introducing endpoints that make complex operations easier to do. Like a good example of that, which we're working on right now, is wallet profitability. So this is something that is possible to do with today's APIs. You know, you can paginate through hundreds of pages of transaction data for a wallet to work out what tokens they've been swapping at what value, and then look up the price for these tokens to build that picture of, okay, you're 20% up. But that sucks. So we're building this couple of different endpoints depending on the view you want that just gives you token profitability or wallet profitability or a combination of wallet and token profitability. Just as a single endpoint, you get the data, and you don't need to do all of that complex logic on your side. So I'd say the UX and data fragmentation piece of that roadmap talks to the turnkey solutions we're building, where it just works out
Mm.
of the box.
And another important thing is the cost of the infra, because if you look at many small chains, they have a base cost to run. And let's say you are an accounting platform or a wallet where most of the transactions don't happen on small chains, they happen on the bigger chains. But you will
Mhm.
always have a base cost for each chain you add. So that's
Yeah.
why at the end of the day, if Moralis can build a very nice platform with all kinds of chains, hundreds of chains, we should be able to bring the cost down for everyone in the industry, because we absorb that base cost, and our clients pay based on their use. So, because we will basically have an economy of scale, which is impossible to reach on your own. And that's what we're seeing right now. A lot of projects are indexing themselves, running the node themselves, absorbing the base costs fully themselves. And
Mhm.
if we're thinking about the future of blockchain with many different chains, hundreds of chains, it will not be viable. It will not be viable, because each new chain is its own RPC, is its own indexer, its own this base cost that projects will have to absorb if they don't use a provider such as Moralis, where we have the economy of scale. So that's also a big part of why we hope to accelerate the dev teams, both when it comes to speed, but also the cost, which is going to be a big factor as well.
Yeah. That was also a big factor for our own re-architecture, right? Like we worked out through that first initial build of how to effectively index and how to store data and what works, what doesn't, what's cost effective, what isn't. And
Yes.
yeah, I think it's fair to say the previous implementation was not as cost effective as it could have been.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's also the reason why up until today we just have a few chains. We have maybe 10 chains or something like that, including the test nets. But very, very soon we hope to have hundreds of chains due to the cost effectiveness that we will have, and also because we will onboard so many new users, and each and every user makes our infra more cost effective, which wasn't actually the fact before the re-architecture, before we rebuilt it. Then it was actually vice versa. But now
Yeah.
the more you use, the cheaper it is for us. Each request is cheaper for us, which of course will mean that it's cheaper for you as well, where we will be able to have way more generous bulk pricing, and the more you scale, the cheaper everything becomes, as it should be. I mean, that's how it works normally when you buy anything. The more you buy, the cheaper the each unit should be. All right, guys, and that's it for the first episode of the Moralis podcast. But rest assured, it's only the first episode. In the new year, we will be back regularly covering the depths of Web3 data, Web3 development, and blockchain technology. So stay tuned and see you all very, very soon. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and goodbye, guys. Goodbye.